Hello, everyone, and welcome to the webinar, Accelerate Your Cloud Transformation with AWS, Splunk, and TekStream. So as part of any cloud transformation initiative, part of the challenge is managing the increased complexity of hybrid cloud environments. And AWS and Splunk can be your backbone for data, no matter where you are in your cloud journey. Helping IT, DevOps, and security teams to secure, operate, and innovate faster. I'm Matt Clemens, Managing Director of the Operational Intelligence Practice at TekStream. Today we have Carl Siepel, Senior Director of Operational Intelligence at TekStream, Tom Stoner, Senior Director, Cloud Sales, Splunk, and Ranjit Kalidasan, Senior Solutions Architect at AWS. Today, we will be covering the following agenda. So why migrate to the cloud? How Splunk simplifies the cloud journey? Why is AWS an integral part of that journey? The power of Splunk and AWS together, AWS data integration and use cases, key considerations when migrating to the cloud, and finally, how to get started. If you're located anywhere on planet Earth, we want to ensure that you know that you are in good hands. So as you see here, Splunk has called AWS and TekStream, both global award winners. On the TekStream side, we've been recognized as the global and regional, or excuse me, global and EMEA partner of the year. And on the AWS side, they have been named the 2021 Global Alliance Partner of the Year. Collectively, TekStream, Splunk, and AWS are digital transformation experts. Together, we accelerate digital transformation by navigating complex technology environments, and we help to guide your decisions to quickly implement the right technologies with the right people and keep it running for sustainable growth. From a software perspective, our experience allows us to help you decide the best software approach to meet your goals and budgets. From a services perspective, our consulting expertise allows you to focus on your resources and lean on our expertise for critical needs with industry-leading consultants in both the Splunk and AWS spaces. From a support perspective, our managed services and training are proven to support and extend your capabilities without stressing your staff. And then from a sourcing angle, we've walked in your shoes. We know how to build teams. We take the time to ask the right questions. We understand what's important for each engagement to help you hire and build that team better and faster. From an AWS and Splunk partner perspective, you see here that TekStream is in the elite and premier and advanced partner networks for each of those partners. Regarding business drivers for migrating to the cloud, so there's many drivers for customers that initiate that journey to the cloud and to AWS. There's compelling events such as cost objectives, target dates to exit or consolidate data centers, and also, of course, end-of-life hardware and software. But the conversation is changing a bit. Leaders, boards of directors are expecting more today than just cost savings and efficiency. Even though those savings are there when you look at a provider like AWS versus on-premises costs. So those leaders are wanting to move faster and transform customer experiences, taking advantage of what cloud native tooling can provide. They want to deliver digital transformation and they want to modernize business. And they want to reinvest cost savings to drive new innovation and business models. And the fundamental part of that transition is having the right tooling in place that can give you insight into the data across the enterprise. So with that, Tom Stoner, Senior Director of Cloud Sales from Splunk, will show us how Splunk is a part of the core strategy for today's leading companies who are making this transition.
Thanks, Matt. My name is Tom Stoner, and I've been with Splunk for just over 6 years, and I'm the Senior Director of Cloud Sales for Americas and Public Sector. Splunk's data to everything platform helps our customers remove the barriers between data and action by empowering them to meet the demands of the data age and succeed in cloud and innovate faster. The Splunk Cloud has been rebuilt for the data age. We believe that every organization needs a cloud strategy to provide end-to-end visibility so they can investigate, monitor, analyze, and act across their whole technology and business ecosystem. And it starts with a common data platform to generate insights from all data sources. That data platform needs to help organizations make decisions and act in real time. Splunk provides this common set of capabilities needed to manage, maintain, secure, and innovate faster in the cloud. And Splunk, with our partners TekStream and AWS, help provide a Splunk Cloud Platform that helps our customers get more value from the cloud and get it faster. I got a great story to talk about this slide. I had a customer of mine, a large retail customer in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and they were talking at one of our marketing events. And the gentleman got up, he was the head of their security operations center. And he got up and he talked about when he got started with Splunk in the cloud. And basically, he submitted his PO. Within 24 hours, he had a login. Within 1 hour after getting that logged in, he was logged in with data flowing into Splunk. And he actually was in an investigation. He had uncovered things that he had not been able to see prior to getting the Splunk Cloud Platform. So you can see very quickly it was from login to use cases, implementing use cases, where when customers try to manage Splunk themselves, there's a long time to train resources, architect the platform, secure the Splunk installation, maintain the platform. The time to value is much longer. And so with Splunk Cloud, we see our customers typically implement use cases 2 to 3 times faster than they are when they're managing it themselves. One of the other things that we see is when we empower your admins to spend more time and your resources to spend more time on getting the value out of Splunk versus managing Splunk, they get just a tremendous additional value. I had a customer out of Canada who actually was a long-time Splunk customer who was managing Splunk themselves for 4 years, and they were consistently running about the same amount of ingest. Once they moved into Splunk Cloud, they had implemented 10x the number of use cases within a year, and they've recently tripled what they were doing from an ingest standpoint because, again, getting more value out of running in the cloud versus running Splunk themselves. And you can see here that we actually help manage about 75% of the admin tasks related to managing Splunk and running Splunk. Obviously, there's still tasks that TekStream is going to be responsible to do with you as a customer, from managing forwarders, managing users, getting data in, but that underlying running the plumbing of Splunk is all set up when you're running Splunk in Splunk Cloud. And Splunk is cloud first. So the all new SaaS offering from Splunk Cloud Platform really is, again, like I said, has been re-architected for the cloud. We have new levels of speed and scale and data processing that we're providing with our partners. Our release cycles for our cloud customers are now every 4 weeks, and we're managing those releases for them. And obviously you get access to the new and innovative technology much faster. If you're running Splunk yourself, typically you're getting 1, maybe 2 releases a year. We really have helped with our partners, our customers transition to a cloud environment, and they can transition, directly to the cloud or can run in a hybrid environment. Obviously, our partnership with AWS really reduces complexity of the modern cloud and provides end-to-end visibility across a customer's cloud initiatives. And from a detect and security standpoint, obviously that's Splunk's bread and butter, being able to secure your cloud environment and do it much faster and quicker than our competitors. So let's talk about running Splunk on AWS in the cloud. First and foremost, it adheres to the most rigorous security and compliance standards. We take care of the hard, heavy lifting related to security, from a SOC 2 Type 2 to PCI to HIPAA to FedRAMP authorizations. We isolate your data and your cloud service from your other customers, so each instance is dedicated and is fully redundant with multiple copies of your data within availability zones. And the data is encrypted, both in transition and at rest, to help from a security perspective. Our partnership with AWS allows us to provide best-in-class delivery. We have a 100% uptime SLA running in AWS across their 12 global regions. And again, we're working with AWS to manage the heavy lifting of running Splunk and the infrastructure underneath. It's very resilient. We also have our 24/7 SOC and NOC, so you can sleep well at night knowing that we're managing Splunk for you and we're monitoring it for you. And then obviously our premium solutions, which are the bread and butter of Splunk, our ITSI, our IT Service Intelligence, our enterprise security, they are always running at the highest level of maturity and availability. We constantly are updating those. You get the latest and greatest, and you're not missing out on functionality. And then lastly, an independent delivery service, right? During a cyber incident, and we've had this with a customer in New York, before they were running in Splunk Cloud, they were actually compromised, and they had no visibility into what happened or what was going on into their systems. They were locked out. And when they moved to Splunk Cloud, it gave them the ability that if they had an incident, running in their environments, they were able to keep their monitoring and their security platform separate, running in AWS outside of their network, so they could actually see what happened in the incident. So it helped them to prevent a similar type incident that cost them millions of dollars from a perspective of being fined. So running Splunk outside of your network independent is very important from a security perspective. I'm going to turn it now over to Carl Siepel from TekStream, and he's going to talk about how do you get there.
Thanks, Tom. This is Carl Siepel. I'm Senior Director with Operational Intelligence, been with TekStream for about 8 years, and I run our delivery practice from an operational intelligence perspective, which includes Splunk. So you've heard about how great Splunk is running on AWS, and sounds awesome. So what do we do next? How do we get there? So we're going to take a look at 4 key things that you need to look at. Connectivity needs. What happens with your on-prem environment? What do you do with your existing data that you've been collecting for the last months or even years? And then perhaps some changes that you might need to your resources or skill sets. From a connectivity perspective, Splunk Cloud is outside your firewall. So all of the things that come with that need to be considered. There are ways that we can set up secure tunnels between your network, your internal network, and the Splunk Cloud network running in AWS if you need that. Most customers don't, but again, if you do, we can set that up for you. You need to think about how both your users and your data are going to connect. So your users might be on-prem, they might be inside your network. In today's environment, that may be remote as well. They might be coming in through a VPN connection. How are they going to get to the Splunk Cloud environment? Are they going to go through the public internet, which is the default, or do you want them to go through some type of a secure connection between the two companies? How is your data going to get from your on-prem servers or servers that might be running in another data somewhere? How is that data going to get pushed up into Splunk Cloud? Again, are we going to go over the public internet, go through a private connection? And as Tom mentioned, everything is encrypted in flight, so you don't need to worry about that. But if you do need that extra safety and security, that is an option that's available to you. And you also need to think about folks coming in from outside your network. Are they going to come into your network, go through a VPN, and then go up through a connection of some type to Splunk Cloud? Or do you want to allow them to connect directly to it? All things that you need to consider. You need to look at bandwidth, both outbound and inbound. Again, all of that data is going to be leaving your environment and going up to Splunk Cloud. And then you'll have some data that's coming back in as users access Splunk Cloud from within your network. So what changes on-prem? So you might have an existing Splunk infrastructure in your environment today, consisting of indexers, search heads, forwarders, etc. Well, what changes? And what stays the same? So from a universal forwarder perspective, those are really not going to change much. If anything, the change that you would see on your universal forwarders is just changing where they send their data. So they're still going to exist on your existing servers. They're still going to be monitoring those logs and gathering those metrics and things and sending it into Splunk. It's just that they're going to send it up to Splunk Cloud instead of sending it to your on-prem indexers. Now we do have the capability, what we call intermediate forwarders, where we can insert a tier of forwarders, and these can be heavy forwarders or universal forwarders, so that your on-prem forwarders send to this intermediate tier, and then that intermediate tier then sends up to Splunk Cloud. We've seen this with some customers to address concerns around opening up a lot of holes in their firewall or allowing many, many different devices to directly connect outside their firewall up to Splunk Cloud. They'd instead prefer to funnel that traffic through a smaller subset of intermediate forwarders that they can monitor a little bit more closely and only set those boxes up to be able to connect outside the firewall. So that's a possibility. If you need that, we can work with you to put that into place. But then what about those heavy forwarders? You might have data systems, databases is a fairly common one. You might have applications that you still need to be able to extract data from, whether it's pulling logs, whether it's running, in the case of a database, running a SQL query periodically to pull some information out of that database. And you may need to continue to leave a forwarder or a set of heavyweight forwarders on your existing environment to still make those connections. And that's because if we moved those heavyweight forwarders up into the Splunk Cloud environment, Splunk Cloud does not have the ability to reach back into your internal network to make those API calls or those database queries. And so we need to leave a heavyweight forwarder or a couple heavyweight forwarders on-prem. It will run those processes, do those API queries, do those database queries, connect to whatever devices or things that you need inside your network, gather the information, and then forward that up to the Splunk Cloud indexers. So what about your data? If you've been running Splunk on-prem for a while, you've probably got months or even years worth of data that you've got in all of your indexes, depending on your retention policy. So we have a few options here. The two main ones being leave it or move it. If we leave it on-prem, essentially what happens there is from the day of cutover, all new data coming into Splunk will go up to the Splunk Cloud indexers. Anything that's existing, so that 13 months of history, let's say, will all stay in your on-prem indexers as it exists today. And what we would do in that case is we would modify your existing search heads and set them up in what we call a hybrid mode, to where when you do a search, it would search both the on-prem indexers for that historical data and the Splunk Cloud indexers for all the new data. Now, this may require some firewall rules and some things like that. So again, we'll have to look at it from a connectivity perspective. The challenge with this is that while it's very easy to do and very little to do from a cutover perspective, it does mean that you have to leave that old environment. So those old indexers, those old search heads need to kind of stay there until that data naturally ages out. So if you have a 30-day retention policy on your data, that might be fine. Just run in a dual mode in this hybrid mode for 30 days, wait for that data to naturally age out on-prem, then turn it all off. And from that point forward, you're 100% Splunk Cloud. But if you've got a retention policy of 12 or 13 months or even 3 years, then that would mean you'd need to leave those indexers and search heads for that 12 months or 3 years. which is probably not something you really want to do. And part of the idea of going to Splunk Cloud is you can get rid of all that old equipment and not have to manage it, not have to pay for it, not have to worry about it. So in that case, we probably want to look at moving the data up to Splunk Cloud. Like leaving the data on-prem, we're still going to point your forwarders to Splunk Cloud indexers. So the day of cutover, we're going to change that. All new data goes into the Splunk Cloud indexers. But what we're also going to do prior to that is make a copy of all of the historical data that you have on-prem up into the Splunk Cloud indexers. Benefits of this, of course, is once we do the cutover, you can decommission all of that existing on-prem environments, the indexers, search heads, things like that, because now everything is up in Splunk Cloud. Challenge with that is, depending on the amount of data that you have, this could be a problem. Depending on the size of your network pipe, depending on how much data you have, it could take days, weeks, or even months to transfer that data up. The good news is that AWS has a lot of solutions to help us out in this environment. From dedicated connections, if we want to go that route, to physical hardware that can be shipped on site, load up that historical data onto that hardware, and then send it into AWS, and they'll load it up into Splunk Cloud for us. And we can do this for anything up to multiple petabytes of data with their various snowball and snowmobile options. So we've got lots of opportunities there to make sure that we can get your data up in a timely manner and in a cost-effective manner as well. Finally, what changes might you need to make to your resources? So with Splunk Cloud, it's still Splunk. All the things that you've been doing in your Splunk environment in terms of setting up dashboards and creating source types and onboarding data and all of those administrative types of things, they work pretty much the same. You're still, Splunk still is Splunk under the covers. Just because it's running up in Splunk Cloud doesn't mean that it functions that differently. However, as Tom mentioned in one of his slides, some of that administrative burden is reduced now. Splunk actually takes care of some of the things that you would normally need to do, and that relieves your staff from needing to worry about that. So maybe it's syncing up comp files between your search heads and your indexing tier. Don't need to worry about that anymore. So from an overall perspective, while there is still some things that you need to do from an administrative standpoint, those are less than they would be in an on-prem environment. There are some changes to how some things work. For example, deploying a new application in Splunk Cloud, while it is very, very similar to how you would do it in an on-prem environment, there is an extra step or two that we have in that process. Primarily, we go through what we call the app vetting process, which is where a combination of automated and manual steps will occur whenever you try to deploy a new app to make sure that that app is compatible with Splunk Cloud and hopefully doesn't introduce any security or performance or operational challenges. Again, as Tom mentioned, Splunk Cloud has 100% SLA for uptime. And so obviously we want to be very careful about what we put up in the cloud so that we don't potentially impact their ability to do that. But otherwise, again, it's just Splunk Cloud. So there's not really much that you need to learn from a new perspective. And in fact, you might be able to take some resources and redeploy them to more useful functions within your organization, since now Splunk is going to be managing the environment and the infrastructure for you. So now I'm going to turn it over to Ranjit from AWS to talk about getting your AWS data.
Thanks, Carl. Hello, everyone. My name is Ranjit Kalidasan. I'm a senior solutions architect working for AWS. I work as a partner SE for Splunk. So in my role, I work very closely with partners like Splunk for various activities like joint product integration activities, go-to-market activities, and go-to-sell motions. Very happy to be here. And today, in this section, we're going to see what are the benefits that Splunk and AWS offers to the customers by running the infrastructure or the solution on AWS. And what are the different solutions and design patterns that customers currently use to get the AWS data into Splunk? AWS and Splunk work together to provide a robust and scalable platform for our customers. Our solutions enhances customer security by providing a real-time visibility into the hybrid environment, whether the application is running on cloud or on-prem. Splunk Cloud Solutions built on top of AWS global infrastructure leverages Splunk deep integration into our AWS services, and it provides a centralized monitoring solutions to our customers. These solutions provide end-to-end visibility for our customers for all their application stack with the deep observability features that helps customers to gather meaningful insights of the data and actionable findings. Speaking of deep integrations, this picture shows a different kind of services that AWS has that gets data sent into the Splunk. And these services are, the list of the services are growing. As and when we release new services and features, we work very closely with Splunk to provide the options and solutions available to our customers to get the data into Splunk. So depending on use cases, customers can leverage different solution patterns to get the AWS data into Splunk. Let's take for an example, if a customer wants to send AWS CloudTrail data into Splunk, and CloudTrail is a service that helps customers to monitor all the API activities in AWS Cloud. So if customer want to send a CloudTrail data for a periodic analysis and for auditing purposes, they can configure the CloudTrail to send the CloudTrail data into an S3 bucket, and then customers can install an add-on app into heavy forwarders to get the data pulled into the Splunk. And this is represented as a dotted line in the bottom of the picture. Let's say another example, if a customer wants to analyze their data traffic to AWS, if they want to do a near real-time analysis, customers can configure services like VPC flow logs and can get their logs sent to CloudWatch logs in a log group. And from there, customers can configure subscriptions that can uses either Lambda functions or Kinesis data firehose to get the data ingested into the Splunk indexes directly. And this is represented as a solid arrow in the bottom of this picture. So customers have a different use cases and different solutions available to get the data into Splunk. And let's take a closer picture of the solutions again. So we have two type of solutions. There is a serverless solutions, which customers can use to send the data, push the data into Splunk. So customers can leverage AWS Lambda functions, or customer can use Amazon Kinesis data firehose. Data firehose is a recommended approach. We recommend customers to send the data, and we'll see in a bit why we recommend this solution. From a pull-based approach, customers can use installing the add-on app into their heavy forwarders. And with that, there are two approaches. The customers can do a legacy API pull. For example, if customer wants to get the CloudWatch metrics, they simply configure the input to do a get metric data from the CloudWatch services and get the data ingested into this file. And for all the data that gets collected into S3 buckets, we recommend to use an SQS-based S3 approach. And this solution gives customers the ability to improve or increase the throughput of the data getting into the Splunk, and also prevent a single point of failure if have this input installed on a fleet of heavy forwarders, so that if one forwarder goes down, there's other forwarders that's there to keep the data flowing into the Splunk. And this example, we'll see how the SQS-based S3 approach works. For example, if a customer wants to send the CloudTrail data into Splunk, they configure the CloudTrail data to get into an S3 bucket. And in S3 bucket, customers can configure S3 event notification, having an SQS queue as a target. So as and when there is a new object gets created or new log files gets created in the S3 bucket, an event will be created and it will be sent in an SQS queue as a message. The heavy forwarders is configured to go and poll the SQS queue in frequent intervals. And whenever there's a new object is created, the heavy forwarders would know by reading the message from the SQS queue, and they read the S3 object key from the message and do a get object from the S3 bucket. So this is how an SQS-based S3 approach works. Kinesis firehose is a highly scalable and managed solution that provides many benefits to the customers that can help customers to ingest a heavy volume of data into Splunk. And there are many benefits that it offers to the customers. Firstly, it supports a push-based architecture, which allows for a high volume data sent into the Splunk without a need to install and configure a heavyweight forwarders. And second, Firehose has a feature to send the failed events into an S3 bucket. So Firehose has a mechanism to do an asynchronous check for the events it sends into a Splunk. And whenever it detects there is a failure of the events being ingested into Splunk, it can write those failed events in S3 bucket. So this helps customers to ensure a durability of the data sent into the Splunk. And the solution is being a managed solution. The solution scales for a very large volume of data sources like CloudTrail, Amazon VPC flow logs, application logs get sent into the CloudWatch log groups, or multi-account logs getting consolidated into a centralized logging account, many such use cases. So with that, let me give it to Matt to see how we can get there, how customers can get started, and what are the resources available for the customers to get started.
All right, great, thanks. So we've seen the what and the why, so let's talk about the how. So at TekStream, we have a proven cloud migration process called QuickStream, and it brings together all of the stakeholders to define requirements around people, process, and technology to ensure success. And we do this, it's not only out of the gate success, right? So it's also for ongoing success for both Splunk and AWS. As you can see here up front from a quick quote perspective, we give you an idea of what the level of effort is. QuickStream, we dive down and give you tangible deliverables around requirements, design, and planning. And then we do the work, right? And from a support perspective, you always have someone there to ensure success going forward, should you need it. So what's next? Expertise, right? So you have access to TekStream, to AWS, and to Splunk, our collective expertise and investment. You have the cloud migration program overall that's going to provide financial incentives as well. I mentioned before the QuickStream process is part of the offering that we're talking about today. We are going to invest as well, right, and do the QuickStream for free, complimentary. And it's, again, it's a 1-week discovery exercise, planning exercise that crystallizes everything, and it gives you those actionable deliverables that you can hold in your hand and know what's going to happen next. As a bonus, we're going to throw in support hours as well. You can use those for Splunk or AWS efforts. It's really to show, to let you know who we are, and to show that we are serious about the investment in this program. And to get started, you just need to reach out, and we can take it from there. So benefit from the power of 3 between TekStream, Splunk, and AWS. Hopefully, it's been obvious throughout the webinar here. But at the end of the day, with this solution, you're going to get end-to-end visibility across the full enterprise. There's not going to be a question that you can't ask or an answer that you can't get when you need to get it. You're going to be able to save time and money, get faster time to value, and you'll be able to lower your risk as well. There's, from a security and compliance perspective, there is seamless integration in the Splunk and AWS ecosystem as they play well together. You see here, we're calling out GuardDuty and Security Hub. Out of the box, they work extremely well together. You're going to be able to scale without the headache. In cost-saving opportunities, right? So with the visibility that Splunk provides, it's going to create opportunity for additional cost savings and governance within your AWS deployment via the integrated AWS dashboard. It's also going to create data-driven opportunities to leverage the investment that you've made and that you will be making across the enterprise, from your existing use cases to whatever you choose, whether that's observability, IT ops, or security. So TekStream's Splunk on AWS services. Yeah, I mean, we're experts in both Splunk and AWS and know how to leverage both for your benefit. We're an advanced consulting partner with AWS, an elite professional services partner with Splunk, and that's going to extend to planning, roadmap, migrating, optimizing, and ongoing support. Like I mentioned before, we're experts in the field, do it all the time, and do it well. All right, so while this is the end of the webinar, it's just the beginning of the journey. So wherever you are in your cloud transformation journey, we're collectively here to serve you, our customers. Here's a bit of information about the Splunk Cloud Platform, a link to a free trial if you are new to Splunk, about a little bit of information about the AWS workload migration program with Splunk, and about TekStream. So on behalf of Splunk, AWS, and TekStream, we appreciate the time that you've invested today with us here and are ready when you are. Thank you.